warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Muhammad Ikhwan, your host.
And I'm Muhammad Izzat, your co-host.
And this is the Uniza News Network. Now, our top story today, there has been a rise in complaints by teachers nationwide regarding classroom management of slow learners.
Okay, first of all, what is a classroom management? A classroom management can be defined as action and strategies teachers use to solve the problems of other in classroom. And while slow learners are people with slow average intelligence whose thinking skills have developed significantly than their norm for their age.
Now, to find out more on how to tackle this particular problem, a team of researchers have conducted an interview session with a secondary school teacher. More details of the discussion will be revealed later on. But first, a short biography of the teacher in question.
Azimah binti Ahmed was born on the 17th of August 1960. Originated from Kampung Alurjawi, Dungun, she attended the Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Sultan Omar, or the DESS, as it was formerly known as the Dungun English Secondary School. Having received her Malaysian Certificate of Education in 1977, she furthered her studies in Diploma of Science with Education, majoring in Biology in University Putra, Malaysia. From 1978 to 1981, with 38 years of experience in teaching, starting from 1981, she has taught at 4 schools in total, and all of which are in the state of Terengganu. First teaching at SMK Badrul Alam Shah in Kemaman, next at SMK Bukit Tunggal in Kuala Terengganu, then at SMK Padang Pulut in Dungun, and finally at SMK Cindering in Kuala Terengganu once more, where she is currently teaching from 1993 until today.
Now, moving on to the case study with Izzat.
Okay, we will be interviewing one of the researchers, Muhammad Takif Muzakir, which is at Kelantan, Bacho. Okay, Assalamualaikum Takif, are you there? Okay, the first question is, what are the challenges of controlling and managing the students during the lesson?
Okay, Waalaikumsalam to Ikhwan and Izzat. Thank you for asking me about the problem of managing and controlling a classroom. So, commonly, the problem faced by the teacher in order to controlling and managing a classroom is the students are hyperactive and talkative in unbeneficial conversation. It means that they love to talk a lot during the class. So this kind of habit will disturb the other student in order to understand the lesson. So as the solution, the teacher needs to have a good voice projection. Loud and clear voice in order to deliver the message appropriately, so the student will understand the lesson.
Oh, I see. That is a significant reveal from our researcher. Okay, we move on to the next question. Okay, what are the challenges of mixed ability among the students? Okay, Zakif.
So the second question given by Izzat for me is about a mixed ability class. So based on my research and investigation, I opine that this is our biggest problem, because commonly in Malaysia we arrange the seating arrangement of students based on the student's level. For example, the first learner and the second learner are separately divided. The first and the second class consists of the fast learner, and the third and the fourth class are consists of slow learner. So the teacher said that this is our bigger problem because we separate them. In order to have a good classroom, we need to mix the class together. For example, we need to mingle the fast and slow learner in a classroom. So the fast learner can help the slow learner in a lesson. For example, the slow learner will feel more comfortable to ask a question with the fast learner better than the teacher. Why? Because they are friends. Of course, they can ask some question. They will be more comfortable. So the fast learner need to guide the slow learner in order to understand the lesson. So that is a solution for this kind of problem, the mixed ability classroom management problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Zakif for the information. Oh, I have just received an additional info on the interview. Okay, Madam Azima stated that to have a good class, you have to mix together the fast learners and slow learners. She also stated that a teacher cannot treat students based on their examination performance or academic performance. For instance, a teacher cannot treat a learner badly just because they do not perform well in the examination or vice versa.
And the teacher must not forget that at the same time, the teacher must also be strict to students and the teacher must apply discipline. Next, the interviewed teacher, or Madam Azima, also advised us that the teacher must apply punishment to students if they are showing bad behavior or pronouncing words with bad connotations, whether towards the teacher or to other students. The punishment should be used with care and compassion.
Okay, dealing with slow learners. She indicated that the teacher must be consistent with the classroom rules.
I agree. Yeah.
And in order to make that happen, the teacher must be confident knowing that it's indeed the best thing to follow and always renew the teacher's confidence to improve more with the teaching process.
Yes, I agree. Confidence is key, right?
Okay.
And I think the teachers must also enforce the students every day. In addition to this, the interviewed teacher also indicated that teachers must have a term to attract students' attention. For instance, the interviewed teacher herself created the term, hocus pocus, everybody focus. So every time she says the term, the students will pay their attention to her.
Precisely, Kwan. I think that is very correct. Okay, furthermore, she also used food to give positive reinforcement.
Yes, yeah.
Madam Azima highlighted that students' satiation is an important matter because if a student is hungry, he or she cannot concentrate on the class session. Okay, likewise, a teacher must not leave behind the negative reinforcement.
Now I think that's all regarding the case, right?
Yes.
Now I think it's time to move on with the discussion with our top researcher here at the UNIZA News Network with Imran Shahmi.
Go,
You ready?
Imran Shami.
Thank you, Ikwan and Izzat from the main news. Today we would like to go through the discussion part of the case study that has been reported in today's news about classroom management and slow learners. On the case we have studied, the researchers found out that management problems related with slow learners are usually involve classroom utilities and facilities that is provided by the school. This problem can, however, be overcome by establishing some classroom rules and depends on the creativity of the teacher to manage classroom space arrangement. Teacher Azima, that is the interviewee, mentioned that slow learners aren't necessarily slow. In fact, they might have individual learning styles and intake that makes them different from everybody else. In terms of work performance, they have better quality than the rest of the students when involved in activities that use physical labor. For example, when asked to redecorate the school's garden, the work of slow learners can easily be distinguished from other students. Their works are much more organized and better from the other students. The interviewee said that slow learners sometimes are geniuses that are often misunderstood for something they cannot do instead of something they can do. In the learning process, teacher Azima embraces the idea of behaviorism. She believes that students can learn better with reinforcement. It is a good value that slow learners excel in outdoor learning, but reinforcements can be utilized to also engage them in indoor learning as well. That is to say, in theory learning instead of practical learning. One of the methods that the interviewee practices is by enforcing English language in her class. Using a method of operant conditioning, those who spoke in other language other than English or using any foul words were subjected to a fine ranged from a minimum of 20 cents to a maximum of 1 ringgit. This encouraged the students to choose their words carefully and to practice English language as a daily basis. The interviewee also mentioned that teachers should not be too harsh in giving punishment to students, as it might drive them away instead of gaining their interest. As a teacher, it would not hurt to be on the student's good side every so often. This is so that teachers can be closer to the students and build a bond of trust in which benefits the teacher for the long run. This might as well emphasize on rewarding the students for their achievement. It seems that from the past experiences of her teaching years, Teacher Azima found out that articulating praises can have a huge impact on students' mentality and motivation in learning. This is also a form of reinforcement that she had practiced over the last few years. Sadly, this year will be her last in teaching career as she hits retirement in early October. All in all, integrating behaviorism can solve a wide range of problems, from learning difficulties to obtaining students' favor. Management problems also seems to be potentially solved by rewarding and punishing students appropriately. This also shows that slow learners should be given more chance, and teachers should be much more inviting in order for the students to learn the subject matter. Together, we might as well put a stop to society's misconception and prejudice towards slow learners. This is Imran, reporting live for our discussion part of our case study here in UNISA for UNISA News Network. Back to the main news.
Thank you, Imran, for that wonderful discussion. Now, moving on with our man on the scene, Muhammad Najmi, to give a brief conclusion of this case study.
Good.
Thank you to our host and co-host, Ikhwan and Izzat. Now, as a conclusion, the interviewee, Madam Azima, has given us a lot of helpful and faithful points. We can see that with a great teaching philosophy, we as teachers can help the slow learners to be on the same level as the other students. Because students these days, they do not need a leader. They need a guide to guide them through all the obstacles and also through their whole life. That's all for me. I'm Muhammad Najmi, here broadcasting you live from Dabs.
Okay, Najmi, thanks for the information.
And that concludes our news for today. Before we end, here are some cat videos for you to enjoy. I'm Muhammad Ikhwan.
And I'm Muhammad Izzat.
And
this is UNISA News Network.
I believe I can fly.
Finally,